All right, this is Terry. This week at Vorshlag, September 12th, episode 5. This week, a lot of stuff going on in the shop, and we'll cover some of that in this video. So one of the items we make for our LS1 swaps is we take the factory loop coolers. We actually buy them from BMW. This is how these come in. It's got a flexible rubber hose on it that's made to go to a BMW fitting. And then we cut the factory end off that has a little flex hose, and we add this weld bung. We TIG weld that on, and then we make a hose that goes to the GM power steering pump that has an AN, it's like a -4 connector. We get this replated zinc chromate coating, and so it makes for a nice clean setup and you don't have any crimped fittings there. All right, getting down to the last few things on Jamie Beck's ST3 car. We're going to go ahead and finish everything and then blow it all apart for paint. As you can see in the back, we've got the fire system mounted on the plate, and then Ryan's made this rear bulkhead that and he's already starting to put bulkhead connectors in. He's got the main battery bulkhead there, and this little wing here on the left will bolt in. There's a main piece here, and the main upper piece here will be riveted in place. The steering column's in the car, the dash is mounted. We just got to do the lower dash. He's working on some wiring now. You see wires everywhere. A lot of circuits are going to go away, and he's just trimming down the harness. He's doing some work under the hood as well. You can see the factory quick connects for the heater hoses. We've actually found these. It's a Lyle part, and then used a Audiker clamp on some push lock braided hose. It comes to the back of the motor and to the firewall. We've got a plate that he's added here and 2 bulkhead connectors with AN fittings. And here's another bulkhead he's made. There's a giant hole here from the factory, and there's like 2 layers of firewall in the S197. He's cut this out, and then this big giant hole he's made an aluminum plate, and we're going to have the main wiring junction right there. Battery's going to be in the trunk. All right, as you see, we've got the battery mounted in the trunk, and so the Odyssey PC680 will go there. Then you see the bulkhead connector right in front of that bar. All right, this is the last little bit on Jamie Beck's cage. Unlike a lot of the cages we see out there, they'll do the NASCAR bars where they kick out like this. I almost see them never tie into the actual chassis at the bottom. So Ryan is adding plinth blocks here, and he's going to have tubing that will land and tie in to the frame and really add a lot of rigidity. All right, here you can see the end plates we've made for this AJ Hartman wing. Ryan built these out of, what is this, 063 aluminum, and has made mounting holes for angle of attack. It's not really critical, it'll look funky if this is at a weird angle relative to the wing, which has about 12 adjustments on it. And so, yeah, these came out really nice. They'll keep the air from bleeding off the bottom edge of the wing. The wing profile is about right here, and so this is more critical than up here. This can bleed off, and it actually helps. So, yeah, these came out really nice. Yeah, this wing came out really nice. We may end up making something similar for our 2011 Mustang to take to SEMA, because this looks a lot better than our car. So just make another one, Ryan. No worries.
Yeah.
So here's the FRS. The mock-up drivetrain came out for the last time, and now the real drivetrain can go in. You can see in the tunnel, we have our tunnel mounting plates for the crossmember. And those will stay in the car. Whenever you service the transmission, the lower crossmember will unbolt from these 4 holes here, and these bolt to the transmission because the factory crossmember sheet metal brace is removed to make room for the Magnum XL. All right, here we've got the motor and transmission going in the FRS. We're using the GTO oil pan, the front sump pan. It's really the only front sump pan GM has made for the LS motor. And we've got a good flywheel pressure plate. The flywheel is already on the back of the motor. T56 Magnum XL going behind it. You can see all the mounts and the transmission crossmember for the FRS are pulled out while we've got the drivetrain out to put in the real drivetrain. All right, we're out in the shop today working on a 2013 Mustang Roush Stage 3 big crazy supercharged track car. We're putting some 4-inch brake ducts on this car because if you're going to have 700 of the wheels, you might as well go big on the brakes. We had to make some custom front ducts for 4-inch, and we'll come around the front and I'll show those next. Okay, so you've seen our brake inlets ducts before on the front of the Mustangs. We've made them for an 05-09 Mustang, the 10 to 12 Mustangs, and the 13 to 14 Mustangs, as well as the GT500 front end. We've always made them with 3-inch, except for on our car we made a 4-inch. This is a 13-14 front end, which you'll notice the shape from one of our previous videos, but it's made with a 4-inch tube. and that'll bolt in this back corner behind the bumper. And he's got this one in place for some big honking 4-inch tube, which will go to our 4-inch backing plates. We really only recommend going to 4-inch if you've tried 3-inch backing plates, which work for 95% of the people out there, and you're just generating too much heat. On a car with this kind of power, we're going to go ahead and go crazy. Now if you look at the lower grille, this is a Roush lower grille, and Olaf has opened up the 4-inch openings, and that'll essentially hide these brake ducts once it's all said and done. It'll be a nice little upgrade without a big giant eyesore. He can still keep his fog lights. Those would have made pretty good brake ducts, but being this far outboard, they'd have rubbed against the tire. The routing is really good in this location. We've also made a mount for one of these toe rings, and they unscrew, and when it's off, you can see we actually have some structure. We built this structure out of 1/4-inch steel plate and cantilevered it off the bottom of the factory bumper crash beam. So it's plenty strong. We've made these for several Mustangs. There's 2 in the shop right now that have the same setup. All right, we've got the front end wrapped up on this 2013 Roush Stage 3 car. And you can see with the Roush lower grille, this is normally blocked off. You can see where we've opened up behind the grille. The bars are still there. We've still got plenty of flow for the 4-inch ducts. And then you can see the final front tow hook is in place. No holes in the paint. It came out really nice. You still get to keep your factory fog lights as well. This is a Vorshlag 4-inch oval brake backing plate to work with the 4-inch Brembo brakes on the S197 Mustang. And that all tucks in nicely, clears the big wheel and tire. This is all powder coated, looks great. Just wanted to show that before we get the rotors on. So here's the rear brakes on this Roush Stage 3. We've upgraded to the 14-inch GT500 rear rotor and caliper brackets. Nice little upgrade on a car with this kind of power. And as you can see, the bumper is actually quite low on these cars. We had wanted to put a tow hook on the car somewhere up by the license plate to the right or left, but there's no structure up here. So instead, once we pulled the bumper cover off, we could see we had a really good spot. It's actually on the lower valence, that black plastic piece that you can change out. And so we'll drill through the lower valence and we'll mount the tow hook here right directly to the crash beam, which will make for a nice pull if you ever get stuck off track. Here's the rear valence. This black piece will actually come off. We can drill through that, and that's where the tow hook will sit. Okay, Ryan's been building some control arms for the 99 Miata LS1 swap we're doing. We tried to use the RX-8 spindle on the front, and some geometry problems and constraints limited us on that, and we could not get the factory control arms to work. So we're like, okay, we'll make control arms. Well, then we couldn't find ball joints that fit the RX-8 spindle. They don't sell them separately, and it's a weird, funky taper. So we went to one of the industry standards, a C5 Corvette spindle. These are plentiful. They're really lightweight. This is 5.5 pounds of forged aluminum. The unit bearings are really strong, and a 2,500 pound car, they're going to still last forever. And we're making a big, beefy lower control arm. And that's what Ryan has built here with really big, beefy parts. So these aren't going to come apart, and it'll give us caster and camber adjustment with these 2 adjustments. The lower arms were the tougher of the 2 to make, and the upper arms will come next. And that's all we have time for this week. Tune in next week for more fun antics in the Vorshlag shop. That's how Mustang's supposed to sound right there. Dual 3-inch in the flow mat.